Hey, good morning. I'm Jona Denz-Hamilton. This is my home studio here, and welcome to it. In the next few minutes, we're going to be visiting with one of the Bay Area and Silicon Valley's most successful realtors, who's also a friend of mine, and talking about real estate because it's one of the most popular and requested topics that I receive from Bay FM listeners and online on social media. So joining me today is my pal, Sandy Jamison, the Jamison team with her husband, Bob, with Tuscana Properties. Bob and Sandy have been helping families for over 17 years. And, when I first met them last year during this pandemic, I was amazed how they have persevered and they have established such a unique real estate business model. And that's why I love recommending them and why Sandy's here today. Sandy, Happy New Year. Good to see you. Welcome. How about you describe 2020 and what you've learned?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jonah. I'm really excited to be here today. So let me just tell you, 2020, despite COVID, was a phenomenal year for real estate, believe it or not. We sold a record number of homes. The market was up, prices were up, transactions were up, and it was unbelievable in the real estate sector how successful it was. And so even going back to March, when there was all this uncertainty, when the lockdowns first hit, everything was locked down. We weren't sure if we were essential. There was about a month there where everything sort of froze and stood still. But then once we got that essential rating that we're an essential business, then let me tell you, it took off. Because one thing I can tell you, people might not be able to go out to concerts or events, but they can go buy a house. And so we saw a really, really strong 2020.
Oh, Sandy, I know you are well known for serving as an industry real estate leader here locally. What are you anticipating for the real estate market for this year?
Yeah, so Jonah, I'm expecting that 2021 is going to be another very active year. I think it's going to blow the top off of 2020. And there's a number of reasons why. We are seeing a large amount of people leaving the state. We have new propositions that were passed that are going to spur the real estate market. There are just so many things going on right now that we're expecting it's going to be a very active market in real estate. And so I think there's going to be a lot of movement. We're going to see gains across the board throughout Silicon Valley.
And you're ready for it, I'm sure. And what advice do you have for home sellers? Because I know there's a lot of questions, and it sounds like now is a pretty good time to sell.
Absolutely. So here's my advice: is if you are even thinking about selling, and remember, selling is a process; it's not an event. So when somebody starts thinking about selling, they usually start thinking about it several months to a year or so in advance. And so if you are even thinking about selling your home, meet with a real estate professional early on, because we can sit down with you. We can understand your entire situation. What do you want to accomplish? We can provide so many resources. We can help you map out your timeline, identify all the different things that you may want to do. Maybe you need to fix up your house a little bit, any number of things, or we could talk through the buy sell process. All these things are very logistically intensive. And so it's always really good idea to have that conversation early on, because again, this is a process. You want to get that process started so that you have enough time to plan accordingly. So
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, there's a lot of things to do. Well, so how do home sellers actually buy the new home? Because I know there could be a problem when they also need to sell their existing home, and you don't want to get stuck with two mortgages. I know that's got to happen.
Yeah, so that's what we call a catch-22. So a seller they own a home and they want to buy another home, but they need the equity out of their existing home in order to purchase their next home. That's called the catch-22. It's like, how do you sell your home and get all your equity out and then go buy a house? Because then people are worried they're either going to become homeless if they sell their home first, or they're worried if they go buy that next house first and they haven't sold their home, then they're worried they're going to be stuck with two mortgages. So this is a dilemma that we know how to solve really well for our clients. So we have a guaranteed sale program and a trade-in program. So for somebody who is looking to sell a home and move to another property, we can essentially buy their house from them and cash them out so that they can make an offer, a very strong offer on their purchase that's not contingent on the seller of their home. And so this is called our guaranteed sale program or our trade-in program. And so this has really helped a lot of sellers. It eliminates the the double mortgage issue, and it eliminates that catch-22 where you're trying to figure out the logistics of which comes first. Do I buy first? Do I sell first?
Mm-hmm.
And so it really helps solve that problem, and it streamlines it for our clients, and it's working out really, really well.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Well, you mentioned that a lot of families are moving, and we're hearing about that. But why are people moving, and where are they moving?
Yeah, Jonah. So let me tell you about some of the reasons why they're moving. So first and foremost, there's a lot of Californians that are leaving the state because of politics. Okay, all the regulations in this state are really driving quite a few people out of the state. That's one reason. Secondly, taxes and the cost of living. So California, as you know, has one of the highest rates of state taxes than any state out there. And that overall cost of living in the Bay Area is significantly higher than in other areas. So those are two reasons right there. And then you couple that with quality of living, or they'll follow family members. They want to be closer to family. So there's a number of reasons why they're leaving. And so what we do is we help them identify what those reasons are, and we can help them look at different states that may meet their criteria. So if they already have family member, let's say in Texas or Colorado or Idaho, then they may already have their sights set on a specific area. But sometimes sellers call us and they just say, I've got to get out of California, but I don't know where to go. And so then the more we learn about the client, the seller, what is their lifestyle? What do they like to do? What are their politics? What are their activities? What are they into? What do they, what do they like and dislike here, so that we can help pair them up with an area and recommend some different areas that they might be interested in. And I have a whole table of all the different states, all the different tax rates, all the politics, all these different laws, that people are passionate about, anything from, medical to gun rights and all these other things that people get really, really passionate about. I've got that all mapped out so that people can really say, oh, okay, maybe these are the 3 or 4 states I should take a look at based on my interests. And so we really like to sit down and work with the sellers and kind of help give them information. That's really what we're all about, is providing that information up front so that we can help tailor a plan for them and maybe point them to different areas to look at. We can also make the connections for them in those other areas, whether it's another county, city, or state. We can put them in touch with local real estate professionals in those areas that can help them research and learn more about those areas. And so this is, what we love to do for our sellers, is really have that conversation so that we can then, help them through the process.
Now, that is really customizing. So for someone who's tuned in right now and they're planning a move, maybe it's across town, they're upscaling, or across the country, can you walk them through that process to just get them started?
Absolutely. So what we always want to do is we want to sit down and want to have that initial consultation. So at that consultation, there's going to be a lot of questions. We need to learn all about you and your needs. What are you hoping to achieve? What are your objectives? What are your goals? The more we understand what your goals are, the better we can tailor a customized plan for you. There's no one size fits all. What we want to do is we want to partner with our clients, and we want to help them map out the best strategy to achieve their goals, because ultimately we want to help them achieve top dollar for their home with the least amount of hassles. And so we have a number of programs available depending on what their needs are. And so the more we learn about their needs and their goals, then we can show them and tell them about all these different programs and how we can help them solve those goals. For example, I already mentioned our guaranteed sale program and our trade-in program, which is a great one. But we also have lease buyout programs, and we have a help program where we can help people remodel their home, and we can help cover upfront expenses. So if they don't have a lot of cash in the bank, but let's say they've got a lot of equity in their home, and we look at their home, maybe it hasn't been updated in 30 or 40 years. It might need new flooring, some fresh paint. It might need $10,000, $20,000 worth of work before it goes to market. But oftentimes people are on a fixed income. They don't have the cash in the bank to do that. Through our help program, we can essentially loan them the money, help manage the entire project, get the contractor's bids, help them through that entire process and project manage it for them and front the money for them. And then we just get reimbursed on the back end from their equity at the time of close. And so this has been a really popular program for a lot of our sellers, and it's really helped them make sure that they get top dollar. And we also can save them money too through many of our contractors and our connections. they are able to save money by utilizing some of these people that we have really good relationships with. So it's been great. And the more we know about their needs, the more we can propose different solutions for them. We even have a box truck, for example. So a lot of our sellers are like, hey, I really need to spend the next couple of months moving all these boxes. I got to clean out my garage and my shed, and I have to move some things around. I need to donate all these things to Goodwill. We even have a box truck that they can use for free.
Wow.
Charge, so that they can take their stuff to the dump or to Goodwill or to their storage locker. So we're all about solution. We're a solution-based company. So the more we work with our clients, the more we hear about their challenges and their needs, the more we're looking to provide more value to our clients. And so every time I see a need, I figure out a way to solve it. And so that's what we're all about, is solving those problems for our sellers.
I think that's a real key there, the word solution solving. Sandy, this is something that I'm hearing about in, well, a lot of my friends. I've been talking about the new changes that are in store regarding real estate. So could you educate us about the California wealth tax? And maybe also talk about seniors who are interested in moving their property tax basis?
Yeah, Jonah. So those are two big topics right now that are really critical for people to pay attention to. So let me give you a few highlights here. And then, of course, if anybody wants more information on these, they can always feel free to reach out and contact me. But first, let me tell you a little bit about this wealth tax. Okay, so the wealth tax has not passed yet, okay? But our assembly in the state of California keeps proposing new bills called the wealth tax. First was AB 2028 and then AB 2088. So what this essentially does is this is a way to tax your entire global net worth for 10 years, even if you no longer live in the state. So if you live in the state or not, if you have spent 60 days per the bill that they're proposing, okay, it's not passed yet, but per the bill they're proposing, if you spend 60 days or more in the state of California, even if you're a college student and you came here for summer school, this would hit you for the next 10 years of your life.
Oh.
Okay. They want to then tax your entire net worth for 10 years, global net worth, not your net income, net worth. So even if it's unrealized, they want to tax it at 0.4% for the next 10 years. And so this is huge. Now, of course, there are limits on how much net worth you have to have for this to kick in. And the low net worth individuals probably would not be hit by this. This is really a tax on the wealthy. But it's also kind of seen as an exit tax because a lot of wealthy people are leaving the state of California because of the high tax rates. So they're trying to find a way that they can go after their wealth for a number of years. And so they're calling it the wealth tax. And so this is definitely something you want to keep an eye out for because the government will find a way to pass it one way or another. They're going to continue to introduce new bills over and over again until they finally get something through. And so those terms may change with each new bill that they introduce, but definitely keep an eye on this because this is one of those things that is caused. I'm not sure if you heard recently, but Elon Musk at Tesla, as well as Hewlett Packard and Oracle, all announced recently that they're leaving Silicon Valley and they're leaving the state of California entirely. And this is one of the reasons why this wealth tax is also looking to eliminate certain corporate tax loopholes and tax corporations even higher. And so a lot of big companies in the tech sector, we may lose them. They may pack up and leave and go to another state. Many of them are going to Austin, Texas. And so if this goes through, we could see a huge retraction in Silicon Valley. So this is definitely something that we need to pay very close attention to because if that happens, then we're going to have bigger problems on our hands economically here in Silicon Valley. So we definitely need to pay close attention to that. Now, let me also touch on Prop 19 now for a minute. I'll say there's two parts to Prop 19. So Prop 19 was on the ballot in November and it passed. So the first part of Prop 19 and the part that most people know about has to do with your property tax base transfer. So effective April 1st of this year, individuals who are over the age of 55, the severely disabled, or if they were a victim of a wildfire or natural disaster and more than 50% of their home was destroyed, they are able to roll their property tax base into their next property anywhere in the state of California. And they can do this up to 3 times. So if it's their principal residence and their house burns down and they were, let's say, assessed at $100,000, they can now roll that low tax basis into their next house. And then depending on the price of the next home, there may just be a slight adjustment to their property taxes once they complete that purchase. Now, under this new bill, they will have 2 years to complete it. And this is an improvement over the Prop 60 and Prop 90 bills that we had previously. Prop 60 and 90 allowed seniors over 55 to transfer their prop tax basis within certain counties that had opted in. Well, there were only 13 counties that had opted in, so it was very limited. There was also a lot of restrictions on the amount of price of home that they were trading for, and it was a shorter timeline. So it was pretty restrictive and very difficult for most people. So under this new bill, it now they can do it 3 times. It removes all the limits and restrictions, and now it extends the timeline to 2 years. So all of this is awesome. This is wonderful. We love it. For this reason alone, we're expecting a lot of people to start putting their homes on the market and making these transfers after April 1st. Let me tell you about the second part of Prop 19. So this is the hidden part of the bill that created some of the controversy, and this is why it only passed with maybe a 51% majority. And this is the part that most people did not realize, and it was not very obvious. So Prop 19, what it also had buried in the bill was that it revoked 2 older propositions, Prop 58 and Prop 193, that allowed the parent to child or the grandparent to grandchild transfers to transfer with a stepped-up basis. So if you pass away and you want to leave a home to your child, under the old propositions, your child, your son or daughter, could receive that property and receive a stepped-up basis. They did not have to live in the property. Well, now what they've done is they revoked these. So unfortunately, this really is going to hit the inheritance pretty hard. So if you have a primary home, if you have a second home, if you have rental properties, if you have multiple properties in the state of California, and you're thinking that you're going to try to leave these properties to your children, even a farm, this is the big kicker, is a farm too. So these properties to transfer to the child or from grandparent to grandchild, they're going to get reassessed at the higher today's tax rate if people don't take certain measures and make changes now. So they must take action by February 16th. Okay, there's only 6 weeks left. If they don't fix the way they're holding title to these properties by February 16th, it will be too late. There is limited time now. And if you have multiple properties and if they're in your name, even if they're in a trust, having it in a revocable trust is not enough. You need to sit down with an estate planner and understand how this will affect you and run all those different scenarios. It's so important that if you have that property, you have to have those conversations. Otherwise, you're going to look back and say, how did I miss this? Okay, so there are certain things you can do with LLCs and restructuring your title in order to avoid this inheritance benefit going away. And so that's just kind of a little flavor of that. Something to look into. If you're interested in that, feel free to also reach out to us. We'd be happy to have those conversations with you and also put you in touch with some estate planners who can also help you solve those problems.
Sandy, we're going to be talking. We are. This has been really, really great information and so valuable too. I've learned a ton actually just in the last few minutes. So thanks for being here. One final question though, for anyone who's planning to sell their home or they have questions now listening to Sandy, or maybe you have rental property or a condo, whatever, why should they call the Jamison team?
They should call us because we have a database of buyers. All right. I have so many buyers in waiting right now. We do not have enough inventory on the market. And so we may already have your buyer. Your home may already be sold. For that reason, we sell more homes, we sell them faster, and we sell them for more money. And along the way, you're going to learn a lot. We're going to educate you, and we're going to give you a lot of information and provide you a lot of resources too. So that's why you should definitely call the Jamison team.
And we know you know your stuff there. I want to thank you for being here this morning, Sandy. It's really nice talking to you, and I hope you come back soon. Oh, you know what? Got one very important thing to ask you. How can we get in touch with you?
Thanks, Jona. Thanks for asking. So definitely give us a call at 408-684-SOLD, or you can check out our website, sandyhasbuyers.com.
I love both of those. One more time on the phone number.
408-684-SOLD.
Sold. Or
sandyhasbuyers.com.
Woohoo! Well, Happy New Year, and we will see you later. Thanks so much for coming on today. That was fun.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.